What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the quartering, and well, we're all moved in. Yeah, the wall behind me is blank. There's some bookshelves getting delivered this week where I'll put all my little toys and little things on and fun little things to look at. So it looks a little bit weird, like I'm in an asylum or something. Maybe I actually am. But it was enough, it was hard enough just to make sure I got my computer up and running and got, everything going and working. And there's still a lot of kinks I'm trying to work out, but in the meantime, the work continues. And over the weekend, it seems like these paid Marvel shills or these like fake boosted accounts really started working overtime. You start seeing a lot of these, you'll see them. Like when they literally, let's just take a look at this particular account. Shadow Knight PK. Shadow Knight, right? The first thing in their bio, Marvel Stan. All it's reaction and video clips from the MCU. Who do you think runs this? Do you think this is like a normal person? I don't think it is. I think it's probably a paid for account that gets all sorts of promoted tweets or like use bot networks to get stuff going, because it's like they follow 2,000 people almost. They only have 1,500 followers. And it's always like this, their whole identity is like gobbling the knob of Marvel movies. And when you look at this, all I'm sensing here is misogyny. What? I mean, Captain Marvel, according to this, got a 6.8. Black Widow got a 6.7. These are just a hair lower than a 7 out of 10. It's just, I mean, I don't get it. Just because they're not 10 out of 10s. Look, let me say what all of you probably already know. There is no zero 10 out of 10 Marvel movies. There will never be a 10 out of 10 Marvel movie because nobody is going to be talking about Marvel movies in 50 years. There's just no way you put a Marvel movie on the same pedestal as The Godfather or Taxi Driver or Tombstone or how about Wizard of Oz, a movie that's nearly 100 years old and still stands up, still holds up great. These are not classic movies. They are meant to generate money. They are not meant to be memorable. Nobody's talking about She-Hulk Attorney at Law in 2 years, period. It's just not happening. And so these scores are fine, okay? These are... I mean, look, even Endgame, okay? Even Endgame was nowhere near a 10 out of 10. And you see, like this meme is perfect with She-Hulk, right? My own father experimented on me. The army's been chasing me ever since my freak accident, and I've seen loved ones and thousands perish. My mutation has manifested as an alter ego that I can barely control, that affects my ability to be intimate with anyone or know true happiness as a normal person. She-Hulk, I know how you feel. I get catcalled sometimes as a woman. Maybe your anger management isn't as good as mine, sweaty. And if you look at it, there is an obvious positive review brigade happening right now to counter the negative. 68% average audience score is extremely high. We also know that Rotten Tomatoes scrubs review scores. I would say that the show is probably closer to, if you watched one episode and I rewatched it to give it another chance, I felt like truly punishing myself. It's a 4 or 5 out of 10. And you can add a point to that because I'm clearly not the target demographic, maybe even 2 points. So like if you're like a 30 or 40-year-old wine mom, or you're just like, it's something to watch, you'll probably be entertained by it, even with the modern modicum of, the little bit of cringe sprinkled in. But there are legitimate concerns that people have about this show. The depowering. This is something we see all the time. Like we just see in this comic, there's a new comic book character that's like Mr. Fantastic's half-sister who just happens to look like POC and is also smarter than the smartest man on earth. Like, this is the stuff that like Marvel does that is like, they only uplift women by pushing down men. And I just feel like it's so predictable. And there's one particular screenshot that's kind of going viral that I'm going to show you. But they have, IMDb. There's almost equally. There's 10,800 ones and 9,400 likes, or 9,400 tens. The show is not a 10. The show is not a 1. So, I mean, these basically cancel each other out, which is why you end up with a 5.5, which is, I think, about fair. It's about what the show is. I mean, again, if you want to say it's a 6 or 6.5, I'm not going to argue with you. But it's not like it's getting a 2, right? To where it's like getting completely obliterated. And then you have these weird Stan accounts that I believe are paid agencies. You see this Jennifer Walters lawyer one, okay? Captain Marvel was too cocky. Black Widow was mediocre. Miss Marvel is too childish. Wanda is unredeemable. These are all true, by the way. Mighty Thor was pushing an agenda. It was. She-Hulk is anti-men. It is. I'm sensing a pattern, and it's called misogyny. Here you see Mahler writing, Captain Marvel wiped out scores of Kree that were no less brainwashed than she was a day prior, while shouting, woohoo! Black Widow buried hundreds of prisoners in a trap to access a single prisoner that she wanted to find the Red Room. I mean, 146,000 likes from another one. By the way, you have She-Hulk as your avatar. You have pronouns in your bio. And like, I swear, it's like I'm not allowed to criticize your show without being called a misogynist. And then, it's like, it's not, you could see here, Ant-Man was derivative. Ant-Man 2 added nothing to the MCU. True. Thor 2 was boring. Age of Ultron lacked depth. Shang-Chi was cheap and tacky looking, wasted decent martial arts, and relied too heavily on special effects. The Eternals felt tacked on and was disorganized. There is a pattern of them. 2 of them. The MCU has been getting steadily worse. 2, you're only concerned with looking at how people react to films starring women. 100% true. And then you see this kind of stuff, right? Here's again another one of these Marvel shill accounts pointing to a tweet that shows the Incredible Hulk, like punching. I can't actually tell. I don't remember what exactly this is. It looks like a spaceship or some sort of tank or whatever. I can't remember. And then here, he gets run over by a Jeep. Like, they've depowered him so incredibly much that it's like ridiculous. Yes, his cousin was in the Jeep or whatever, but he could have just stopped it. He didn't have to punch it out to the moon. He could have just stopped it. You see, I feel like only children are fond of, quote, smart Hulk, but I've never seen a single conversation or debate ever in defense of his character or his relevance to the MCU. He's literally a useless character. He's half Bruce. His cousin is in that car, and he would risk injuring her. He wasn't entirely ready for the impact, and he wasn't angry. I mean, if you have to write a paragraph defending, like, I don't think that this car would have ever, like, ran Hulk over. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This isn't Hulk. This is Professor Hulk. Real Hulk is still hidden. Yeah, okay, but it's still Hulk. It's just cringy stuff, right? And then we saw a half dozen articles. I'm sorry, dozens of articles. Hey, eeny bony eeny. One nice thing about my new studio is it's upstairs and all the cats are up here because the dogs they still chase them a little too much. We're working on that. But so I feel better now because the kitties weren't getting enough attention. So then you see, like, IGN, the question of whether Captain America was a virgin has been one of the bigger debates amongst MCU fans. Literally, no, it has not. And who are these fans you're referring to? Nobody has ever asked that question. And thanks to Marvel head Kevin Feige, She-Hulk Attorney Law has finally helped shed some light. Who asked? Clifton Duncan writes, those debating whether or not Steve Rogers was hooking up, probably do so because they're not. Nobody, like, who? This has never been a debate. What TikTok 13-year-old is in charge of this? Debate? Not until last week. I mean, they're just getting like, and by the way, nothing wrong with it anyway. Why do people care so much about this? I keep seeing people bring it up as if it were some super important detail of Steve's character when it isn't. Maybe I'm just weird, but I've never cared about that. No, you are 100% correct and normal. That's the actual take. Then you see like this idiot. Here's another. I wonder if it's a Marvel stan. Yep, it's a fan account. See this? They all seem to say this. I think that they're fake. 158,000 likes. She-Hulk has like one conversation about how women have to control our anger and fear when we get catcalled or followed so we don't get hurt or ended, parentheses true. And men are calling it woke. Y'all wouldn't even last for a single day as a woman. Get out of here. You all acting like getting catcalled is any kind of important thing. Let me tell you a few facts that I dropped on this fool about men's lives versus women, okay? 91% of inmates are male. 70% of homeless men are male. White males accounted for 71% of self-deletions last year alone, with 131 of those happening every single day. Men are also twice as likely to be sentenced to jail for after being convicted than a convicted woman, and receive on average 63% longer jail time for the exact same crimes. Men are the ones passing away almost exclusively on the battlefield. Men are the ones taking the dangerous jobs. Men suffer from the overwhelming amount of workplace accidents. And you're talking about getting catcalled. Sit down. Like these people are ridiculous. It's time to start calling more of these clowns out, and it's time someone does some real digging into these fake Marvel accounts, because I suspect there's something fishy going on there. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.